Signs of the Southland for Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. It's your weekly dose of Georgia Tech numbers and words. Once again, my name is Akshay Easwaran, and joining me on a sunny day, a beautiful fall spring day in Atlanta, Georgia, are Jack Purdy and Jake Grant. Gentlemen, which of Georgia Tech's baseball's 20 run games, 21 20 run game wins was your favorite?
Ooh,
Um,
that's a good
that's a good
question.
question.
We
Jinx.
have said the same damn thing. Uh,
Yeah.
I think I'm just a fan of the Southern one because it was Southern, even though Southern unfortunately is not good this year, which doesn't help strength of schedule and all those kinds of things. But I don't mind the beating the in-state team like that, just on general principle.
Yeah, I think I'll be a contrarian. I'll take today's game, 21 to 3. I think, obviously being 8-0 is great, but probably some questions more so than throttling of Stony Brook from a couple of the first three games of that four-game set. So bouncing back to win 21 to 3 is always a nice touch there. So yeah, I'll take the other one, Jack.
Great.
I guess we're talking baseball already. So let me fill in the gaps on the other two games, or the other three games, excuse me, of this 5 game week for Georgia Tech baseball, who remains number five slash number two in the country. They beat Georgia Southern 25-1, as previously stated, and then put together a 4-0 sweep of Stony Brook in 15 or 14-5. Wow, words. 10-5 in 7 innings, a 6-5 win in 10 innings with a walk-off, and then an 11-3 dismantling of Stony Brook today. A lot of baseball, a lot of runs, two-ish nervy moments from the pitching staffs. Jack, where would you like to start with these 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, offensively we were fine. Nothing to worry about there whatsoever. Like, in fact, they're at record-setting pace right now. Pitching wasn't like perfection. It was good enough for all we needed against a team that was terrible. Tate McKee wasn't perfect. He had inflated pitch counts going in early innings in the first game, but I mean, we came back. We were just fine there. Mason Patel, I think, was like the most interesting moment. I was at that game on the Saturday for the innings that he pitched, and he just left a lot of stuff over the plate. So that was the one part of the series that Stony Brook was able to find a real groove at the plate and get some hard hit balls, but it turned into some runs, and they had a lead for most of that game before we came back and won in the 10th. So, and I mean, but Mason's fine. Like, it's not better to do that now against Stony Brook than against someone else. Get a bad early season start out of the way now, kind of thing. It would have been really bad if we lost that game, but I mean, good teams have been losing to bad teams this weekend across the country, so it wouldn't have made the fact we still pulled
I
it off is helping make us look a hell of a lot better. But it was not a Mason Patel striking out everybody and keeping a sub 1 ERA going like that. That was seems like that was a 1 year thing at this point.
Jack, I'm going to flag a little more concern, I think, than you let on. I think the characterization of these several games this week being relatively fine, equal. I don't know. A 6-5 win in 10 against a team that is now what 0-7 again. Maybe they're a little outmatched or whatnot, but seeing Mason Patel, somebody who's for all intents and purposes supposed to be a big part of this pitching rotation, one who was a big part of the pitching staff last year, give up 5 runs, all earned, with only one
Yep.
strikeout in 18 batters faced. Command stuff, whatever you want to call it, just wasn't there. That's concerning for a Saturday starter. The flip side of that, Dylan Loy, really good, really good. 5 2/3, 6 strikeouts, and 17 batters faced out of the bullpen in a really long relief start there. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is a great comparison, but I've been kicking this around all day that it feels kind of like what the team did to Terry Busey, Scary Terry, if you will, where he was really effective in relief and then not so much starting. Some guys just have a certain way about him. I don't know if that's necessarily 100% true for Mason Patel, but an awesome start to last year was bounced out by kind of some, hit or miss outings later in the year. So this feels a little bit more like that, and a little less like dominant pitching endeavors. But
Right. It wasn't
yeah, I
dominant
don't
for
know.
sure.
Obviously, you want to win the game. Much better to win close than to lose close, especially to a team like this. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it feels like
I want to. Well, I want to
like
see.
complaining about a good thing, right? Like
Right. I
I
mean,
don't
I
want to
want to
do
see
that, but
I want to see a third start here too. Like it's just been two. Like it's literally just been two starts. Who the hell knows where this goes? But yeah, like like if it keeps trending in this direction, yeah, like maybe they do have to rethink how they do the Saturday starter thing. If it's like not liking this enough, uh, I the Dylan Loy innings like that was a picture perfect example of what they're going to use him for. Like Dylan Loy this year is basically the Mason Patel of last year. Bring him in, do those important relief innings. He's very calm. Like that was I think James Ramsey mentioned last weekend was like, yeah, this guy's the calm things down guy for the bullpen. And so that was to see him do that was like, okay, that part is working exactly as planned. Like, at least for this weekend against Stony Brook. So that was really good to see. Um, yeah, so Tate will obviously still pitch next Friday. But Basin, I think, will still pitch next Saturday without any issue in terms of whether he's going to start or not. But um, yeah, if we can get what happens against Northwestern, will be like, okay, that's the main thing we'll be looking at next week is how does he rebound from this? I guess the team that has yet to win a single baseball game this season.
Yeah, these early season opponents are not really helping the old strength of schedule. Jack, you looked at our new friend on the internet, pairratings.com strength of schedule metrics for
Yes.
Georgia Tech. And if I remember correctly, Tech was rated like 120th.
Oh, way worse. 219th.
Okay. I got the numbers in the wrong order. But yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Hurts, I
but
guess, that Stony
but
Brook has not won a single game. So
but but they have the ninth highest remaining strength of schedule. So you
Yes.
got to
That
win these games. And that's where that Saturday game being close, it makes me a little nervous. You're not really keeping a ostensibly not so great team off the board. You kind of got to do that to win some of these against
Oh yeah,
better
that's for
teams.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there have been many recent years where we've come out of these two weekends with two like how the hell did we lose these games or why are we getting crushed in these games kinds of games and that we have never come close to that yet this year in
yeah,
terms of like the
knock
like
on some wood,
yeah.
folks.
So
But what do you mean we haven't come close to that? We went to extras against a winless Stony Brook team. I
okay,
get
okay,
that I'm
you,
being
you,
annoying about
no,
this,
you missed
but
the
like,
severity. You're completely
okay,
misdiagnosing the severity. I'm talking
okay,
about
okay.
like the like why are we down 8-0 to Marshall in the eighth inning kind of games, not the okay we're still one inning from really striking from getting figuring this out. Like we never were out of any of these games. That's more what I mean there. Um, now I do not like that it took us 10 innings to beat Stony Brook. That sucks. And we got lucky as hell on that tie break on not the tie on the hit as well by Von
Mhm.
Lackey because it was a routine ground ball that just happens to hit third base and it sits in the air so long that we can score and we end up winning. So that was absolutely a BABIP luck win right there. That could have gone either direction. But yeah, we have not played an inning where we were out of a game. That's the important part there.
Yeah. So what back to your point about Patel uh sort of weakening as the season went on and as he had more innings under his belt last year. I think we talked a lot about both him and McKee last year outperforming their FIP, their fielding independent pitching for wide stretches of the season until it caved in on them later in the year. And then at that point, we were just kind of hoping that the version of them that we had seen earlier in the year wasn't the version that was going to show up in the tournament. So, or was the version that was going to show up in the tournament. So, just a quick update on that as we restart our FIP and BABIP trackers. Tate McKee 3.0 ERA in 9 innings pitched, a 3.98 FIP with a 0.294 uh, BABIP versus a 200 average. Mason Patel 7.56 ERA in 8.1 innings pitched, 2.36 FIP with 464 BABIP with a 361 average. Shockingly, Dylan Loy a 000 ERA a 0.00 ERA in 9 innings pitched, 0.76 FIP, a 143 BABIP against a 0.71 average. So pretty nuts start in a similar amount of innings. Like you said, that Mason Patel, first guy out of the bullpen style start to the season for Dylan Loy. A couple of other bits and bobs in terms of records to start the year by scoring double digits in both Friday games, because this was a 4 game set with 2 games on Friday. Tech set a record for most double digit run games to start a season with 6. New head coach James Ramsey has tied John Heisman for second longest run of consecutive wins to start his head coaching career. Joe Pittard won 10 straight in 1946. So that's what you're batting against, or battling against. 2 more wins for the all-time title in terms of consecutive wins. Gentlemen, any other notes on the baseball team? Anything else?
I think it's worth a little trip around the ACC just to see what our peers are up to. As we have noted in the past, these are early season results, not necessarily reflecting everyone playing full series against teams and things like that. But neutral site type of activity, home, away, and everything in between. Virginia, Boston College, Notre Dame, all winners at neutral sites today. The range between 500 and somewhere above 500. Louisville's now 3-4 after a tough weekend at Arlington at Globe Life Field. They host some preseason tournaments there. They lost 10-6 to Auburn today. Virginia Tech hosted Rutgers. They won 4-3. Duke beat Milwaukee at home as well. Weird one, a 3-3 tie in Chapel Hill, East Carolina versus North Carolina. Very interesting series there, but it was 3-3 after the fifth when presumably the game was called from as well as we could tell. Wake Forest was a winner against Siena at home, and Miami is currently beating Lafayette 30-2. That's probably one of the teams in the ACC that has an even worse strength of schedule than we do right now. So don't write too much into it. But any offense that has scored 25 plus runs multiple times this year is very scary. So keep an eye on that. Clemson beat Bryant in Clemson. Northwestern and Boston College also squared off in Spartanburg at that neutral site as well. We do see Northwestern next week, so interesting there. They're 4-2, looking to go to 5-2 if this result holds up in Spartanburg. And then Cal played UC Irvine on the road. They are currently winning in the third game of that series. Pittsburgh trails at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, but that game is very early. Nebraska's beating Florida State in the bottom of the third, 5-0, also at Globe Life Field. And rounding it out, Stanford is currently trailing Cal State Fullerton. So kind of a mixed bag weekend from the ACC. Some of these neutral site tournaments are pretty tough, but it is good to see some cross conference play. But Florida State, Louisville, maybe a little concerning. Miami, concerning for us, but good for the league. Maybe is maybe how I put that. But it's certainly good to still have a zero next to the name for Clemson, Miami, Georgia Tech in terms of those results. Kind of a mixed bag otherwise. So.
Good stuff. Like Jake said, the next weekend series, the 27th through March 1st, will be hosting Northwestern. Those first pitches are 4 p.m. Friday, 2 p.m. on Saturday, and then noon on Sunday, all on ACC Network Extra. And then your midweek matinee is at 4 p.m. on Tuesday versus Georgia State. And that is at home, not in Panthersville. Gentlemen, shall we take a quick break? Ooh, no, you've got one more piece of business before we go to podcast business.
The away game is actually a neutral site. That's up at the field formerly known as Coolray, I believe, in Gwinnett County. So
Yeah.
I think it's still known at Coolray, right? Or am I?
I don't know. It had a weird name last I checked.
It was, I don't know. Is it cool
Like
tomorrow?
Gwinnett
Is it cool
Stadium or
yesterday?
something?
Cool.
It's still cool. Oh, it's Gwinnett Stadium
They
now
lost the
because
naming rights.
they have pulled out of the naming
It
rights.
was cool yesterday.
Yeah, it's windy
Boo.
today, but
You
Anyways,
got, come on. We're moving. We're moving.
yeah.
Hey, I finally had one. I never do those. Finally, someone else had the terrible pun.
Womp womp. That's Akshay's bit, the womp womp. But as always, this podcast is brought to you by Section 103. Not too much movement. It was a busy couple weeks for them, but the Section 103 they're currently building. You can go check them out at section103.com and at Section 103 on Instagram. Be sure to tell them we sent you. FTRS is your code for 10% off. They are up to 6 schools: South Florida, Kennesaw State, Georgia Southern, Clemson, LSU, and of course Georgia Tech. It is the best place to find Georgia Tech apparel. I stand by it. The very first thing I got from them still holds up. Looks like it was made yesterday, and so does everything else in my closet from them. We love working with Steven and the gang over there. Remember, section103.com. Tell them we sent you. Gents, we got a lot left. Where are we going next?
Unfortunately, we're going to the men's basketball team, which I learned today was 2-13 in the conference, and had a bit of a cuss to myself when I learned that. They are also 11-17 overall. So, oh boy, yeah. So two results to report here and two losses. A nearly 30-point loss to Virginia that is somehow much what's the opposite, or what do I want to say here? The final score is much closer than it was actually. It was
Yeah.
even more of a beatdown than that. What is that? A 26-point margin. The Torvik game score for this, which I've never seen a Torvik game score this low, was 7. Second worst all season, third game under 10, which I honestly, again, don't even know that these are possible. We're just breaking records here at Georgia Tech men's basketball. Uh, they
Yeah.
also posted an 87-70 loss at Louisville. So yeah, I think they're just kind of running the ball here until the end of the season. Wouldn't you say?
It's yeah, that's exactly what's happening. They were down 42-9 in the first half against Virginia. Like we keep finding a new way to have a worse scoreboard look. It's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. See, seems really not ideal. The end of the season seems to not be soon enough for these guys.
Not only have the wheels come off, I think the axles have come off, and maybe the paint has started chipping away from the free vehicle as well. It is, yeah, that Virginia result is pretty shocking. The next game on the docket is the 28th versus Florida State at noon on ACC Network. I'm sure that will be
Which
fun for the whole family.
What a great
which they're
activity.
71st in Ken Palm.
So
Maybe
a
there's a
hundred.
shot.
That's basically 100 spots ahead of Tech at this point.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. That's a good point.
that's a lot better than us. That's a lot better. Uh, yeah, not amazing. If we don't win another game, this will be the first time in 15 years we've only gone to win during conference play. So, and that doesn't count a third win we got in the in the tournament or in the ACC tournament that year. So, this would be a real just two win because we won't qualify for the ACC tournament at this rate. Uh, so fun stuff there.
I just want to remind everyone. I think we had a referendum on the head coaching position when they were like 11-10.
Oh, a long time ago. Yeah, long time ago at this point.
They have. I want to make sure that we're being fair. Like again, we had the referendum at 11-10. They were already on a losing streak. At this point, you have well past the shame barrier
Yeah, yeah.
for this tenure, and there's really no way to go at
I'm gonna
all.
play. I'm gonna play one mini game here. We're 176th in the Bart Torvik rankings. Which, if you want to see like a good graphical representation of like how backslidey this team is, go there. Um, the team right behind us though is a team we play just about every season at 177.
Georgia State.
Close enough, Kennesaw State.
Hey, we I don't think we play them too often. Not
Maybe
not to
not.
just I
Oh, I think
like
you're right. Yeah, we don't play them that too.
it's
Yeah, you would think we do, but we don't.
the in-state teams are odd. I feel like we catch some really random ones year to year. Did we go to like 4 overtimes against Mercer in the ACC title year? Or was that Georgia State that we went to 10
That was
overtime or
state.
4 overtimes against?
That was
Okay.
Yeah.
state. That
Yeah.
was
Those are like
gross.
back to back, so they live very similarly in my head. So
Yeah.
You want to
Yep.
talk about something way happier? Let's talk about women's basketball. They are 12 and 16, 7 and 9 in the ACC though. So props. They are 68th in the latest Torvik rankings. They beat Pittsburgh 84 to 68 in a fully dominant victory up in Pennsylvania, and then took an 11-point loss in Blacksburg to Virginia Tech. I think they're done. The ACC tournament is up next. They are locked in.
nope,
Um, or
nope,
they
nope.
Ooh,
They are
they're not.
they are in, but they get Louisville and Miami this week. So it's ACC's coming up after this week.
Hmm.
This is
Yeah.
what I get for misreading the shot sheet. That is my bad. This is great
This is what I
podcasting.
get for writing a bad shot sheet. So there you go.
ACCs are next weekend. Weekend after this one. They play, like you said, Louisville, number 8 Louisville. So basically the season's over. On the 26th at 6 p.m. on ACC Network, and then on the 1st of March versus Miami. That's a 2 p.m. tip on ACC Network Extra. I see both of you have hands up, so one of you is going to have to pick to go
I,
first.
I'm gonna talk about this VT game. We don't want to. I don't want to breeze past this. We led for
Yeah.
most of this game. Like this
Hmm.
was a real like when I was checking the game, I was like, oh, we're actually holding on. This can be a good finish after I finished the baseball game. Looked down and then I looked back up and then we were down 10 points. Like they had a 14-0 run in the fourth quarter, and that or Virginia Tech did, I should say, and that kind of killed us after we went. Only scored 21. We only scored 20 combined points in the or 19 points in the second half combined, which is not good enough. While VT scored 19 points in the fourth quarter alone. So it was 11-point loss that was way closer for a really long time. But you had a lot of good points in the paint. Brianna Turnage has been really good these last couple of games. She had a 20-20 double-double in the pit game. So like she was racking up the stats. So they've been playing plenty good despite this just one really bad stretch of play they've had. Like they hold it together a little bit longer here. We may not beat VT because they're 21-8 this year at this point. But at least would have been it's another good plot point of like, okay, they are holding it together really well and fighting up against whoever they play at this point and beating the teams they're supposed to beat. So this is a very much a misguided scoreboard in terms of what this looked like in terms of the bigger story of this game, I'd say.
Well, and Castle's a tough place to play. You
Yeah.
know, that's no walk in the park to go up there and play them even close. So not
The
terribly
important
surprised with the result, but I was kind of surprised with the journey in a good way. So
the important part is that it was a competitive loss, unlike the two for the men's team. So, we move on. Like I said, 2 more fixtures this week, and then it's the ACC tournament for the women. Let's flip over to softball, which had a lovely, lovely run of 6 wins this past week in dominant fashion in most of these. Let's see, a 5 inning, 16-0 win over Charles or Charleston, a 5-2 win over Georgia State, 2-0 win over Purdue, another 5 inning, 13-5 win over the College of Charleston, and 8-0 over Yale, and an 8-0 over Purdue. Just an absolute demolition of all of these opponents, gents. What's the key standout points here?
the key standout point to me is that this is probably more of what we can expect on a normal weekend from Georgia Tech.
Hmm.
They're 12-6 right now, right? They're of course they played what 10, or I think that's 13 games at home by now, but they are 1-6 against quad one teams. They have been challenged so far this year. So all this to say, I was a little concerned after last week. Just you'd like to probably win one or two of those FIU games and
Yeah.
and bounce back a little bit harder, but I don't know. They're currently sitting at what? Yeah, what I say. 1-6 in Q1, and they have completely taken care of business in the rest of their games. Granted, 9 of those 10 games are against Q4 or fall into a Q4 type of bucket, so not particularly awesome. But you got Mississippi State coming up as a neutral site game on the 25th. That is a great opportunity to get a win in your own building. Maybe we see something there, and then opportunity to start the ACC slate right, hosting Notre Dame 3 times this weekend. Just kind of like clicking into some of their general stats again, shouting out. Pair, it's awesome. I've been playing around this site basically most of the afternoon, and it's been great to see some of these things visualized. But if you think about like good to bad in terms of ranking, Georgia Tech is at the very worst, middle of the pack in every stat or better. Offense is top 40 in just about every category except runs per game. Pitching is a little bit more towards the middle, and maybe they're just getting a little bit of luck and or skill of leaving runners on base. But that's how you turn what was it, 6-6 into 12-6. That's keep that up, and that's I think pretty confidently still a tournament team. They're right in terms of that net and RPI. Well, not RPI, but right in terms of that net or like schedule quality ranking. Pair has them right around where I would if I was just kind of doing this blindly as a first team out kind of spot right now. But they played a tough schedule and they got some opportunities for some wins still. So I think this was a super productive weekend, especially with
Yeah.
the slate of several run rules. Count them, 4 run rule wins in 6 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this is ideal. This was really
Yeah.
ideal. I mean, they 52-7 over the weekend. Like that'll freaking do. Like that's what the baseball team's
Hmm.
been doing for the most part too. Michaela Caulfield had her first complete game shutout, which is really good to see. I know
Yep.
having another arm that can do stuff like that is incredibly valuable. Madeline
Yep.
Johnson's still carrying the bulk of the work. I mean, everyone's stats looked great this weekend with how well we did, but yeah, she's sitting at a 3.03 ERA right now. Her whip stayed pretty solid at 1.17. Caulfield's went down to 1.18, albeit significantly fewer innings pitched than Madeline at this point. Um, so we've got an arm that's going to carry a lot of the load, and as long as Caulfield, Tipper Harris, and Kenley Hillary can hold ground pretty well, that gives us a shot. And the bats are doing their thing, which doesn't have me to a spot where I'm super super worried about the pitching as I was last
Yeah.
year. Yes, there's no ace right now necessarily, but as by committee, they're doing what they need to do so far. The hitting's I mean, still freaking fantastic. Reese Hunter's slugging 744. Alyssa Weller's slugging 820. She's at 5 homers now. Just this turnaround from Hunter's so great to see her hitting as well as she has. Maddie Duffel had a good weekend as well. Like everyone's the people we need to see play well are playing well. That's the main point.
Yep.
I'll be really curious to see what happens. Yeah, with this Mississippi State game, like, do they pull that off? I mean, they're ranked right now, so that would be very akin to that Oklahoma State win last year if they can pull it off. An early non-con midweek. Oh man, they beat this team kind of win that really really would help the resume and
Yeah.
provide at the and not only help the resume, provide some cushion. Also, like that, you got to have something that looks really, really good if we're going to be a bubble team, and this is that really good opportunity.
And this is where I think the Mississippi State game this week is going to be a great bellwether. They are currently 15-1. I don't know if that includes today's result or not, but if you look at who they've played, it's not nearly the strength of schedule, if you will, that Tech has. And granted, there's a lot left on the schedule for both of these teams. Obviously, playing an ACC and of course an SEC slate is going to be super challenging. But if you can get a couple runs on these guys, you're likely one of the better, if not the best, uh, team that Mississippi State has faced yet. So I think
Yeah,
this will be a great, how much of what we just saw this weekend is durable and reflects improvement as the season goes on versus because again that second week right was you're in Florida's building on the road against a real pretty good really good I should say host and then Marshall they took care of business but a mid-major who is maybe better than I think maybe we thought but also one that can catch you at the right time if you're not careful so
yeah.
I don't know if
We've
any of that helps guys
That's what it is. I
but
mean,
that's where I'm at so
also to put in perspective, like how much bigger Mississippi State is of an opponent, Paris got them at a 72% chance at just winning a single game against
yeah
against us in a one game stand. So that's about 3 run favorites all
yeah
in. So yeah, a win would go a really really long way. Uh, so hope for the best there.
yep
Jen
indeed.
said, like the gent said, number 18 Mississippi State comes to town. That is on the 25th. That is Wednesday. That's a 6 p.m. first pitch on ACC Network, getting on the big stage there. And then at the weekend, the 27th through the 1st, Tech will play Notre Dame at 5 p.m. on Friday, 3 p.m. on Saturday, and 1 p.m. on Sunday. That is ACC Network on Friday, and then the extra on both weekend days. I feel like playing Notre Dame is always weird, like across every sport, and especially I think in women's or men's basketball and softball. Like this series is always very, very close, very, very good. So it should be fun. Should be fun to see it on ACC Network too.
Yep. And good for it happening twice. A great opportunity to see a good game on the midweekend on Friday. So
Indeed. Let's move over to Ken Byers Tennis Complex. The men's tennis team is 8-2 with 2 wins over Jacksonville State and Texas Tech. Pretty good slate here, folks. Jake, you want to take this one?
yeah, for sure. Obviously, okay. Sidebar: putting together this shot sheet. It's something I think every week when I look at tennis results. Why do they list doubles second when doubles happens first in a match? Never understood that. So I'm going to talk about doubles first, even though it's listed second. Against Jacksonville State, Georgia Tech did drop the doubles point. There we go. I've said my piece. Anywho, it was 4 singles matches that made Tech victorious. Christophe Clement won 7-6 in tiebreak 12-10. So very long first set, and then 6-4 on court one. Tech also won on courts 3, 4, and 5 to get the rest of the way to the margin there. Not to skip too quickly past that, but a 4-2 win against Texas Tech flies off the page a little more to me. Tech did take the doubles point there. That included wins on courts 1 and 2. 3 was left unfinished, so no doubles loss, just an unfinished doubles there. Tech had one match that was still in play, and that was court one in singles, and then Hida Schoenmacher's Jonathan Arwanto and Richard Biagiotti did grab wins on courts 2, 4, and 6 for Tech. So pretty good showing there. They're at 8-2. I would say maybe a sneaky 8-2. Obviously it's the non-con, so you're seeing kind of a mix of teams, and we can debate that 6 ways to Sunday, but you got to stack up wins somewhere, and getting a nice non-con Power Four type of win over Texas Tech is always a good thing to see there at this point in the year. All that said, they're going to get tested more this coming weekend. They go on the road to NC State, who's currently ranked 23rd, and Wake Forest, who's currently ranked 4th. Pencil in NC State as one to keep an eye on. That's a team that kind of, honestly, both of these teams often sit in this like marginal top 25 and marginal top 5 kind of spot. If they can win at Wake Forest, awesome. That would be quite something. But really, it's NC State playing them close, and potentially with a road win that would really go a long way for a bolstered resume looking towards the end of the year. 8-2 start is great, but gotta flip some quality opponents here to get a nice solidified tournament picture in the mix, if that is indeed the top of their range. So be good to see them. I need to make a point to go over and catch them in person one of these weekends in the ACC slate, just to get the in person part of that too. It's much more informative than just live stats. So.
I was about to make that same point about NC State. Like, I think every year we pencil in this or we circle this NC State big match as, oh, this is the barometer. This is like an
Yep.
evenly matched team. Let's see how they do. And I'm pretty sure you can probably track or predict or how the rest of the season goes based on the result of this match and just
You
how
know,
competitive that it is.
the funny thing is, I feel like we say that about NC State in several sports. I know that we've done that in softball a couple times too. They don't necessarily see them every year. Maybe we just match up well against NC State, but particularly here, since they have been such regulars in this like 20 to 30 rank. Tennis does rank more teams, which is very helpful. But yeah, if you can go on the road and get a good opponent in the mix, this might, I'd say this is the most interesting, spring season match they've had yet. So it'll be good to see how it goes.
Let's flip over to the women's side then, and the women are 4-6, posting two losses on their California road trip, 4-0 to Stanford and then a 4-0 to Cal. Not a great day at the office, the West Coast offices for Georgia Tech here.
It might be worth noting that's number 18 Stanford and number 12 Cal. So both of them are pretty good, but I think this Tech team sitting at number 59 is maybe uncharacteristically low from where we've seen them in recent or past years. So um, maybe that's a function of having played some pretty good teams. Stanford, Cal, both pretty good. Mississippi State, South Carolina, number one UGA, tough. Number four Auburn. That's a pretty different non-con slate than I think the men have seen. And of course, the conference opener is pretty tough there too. Not trying to make any excuses, but they might be well served to get Louisville and Notre Dame coming up this weekend in their home building too.
Good stuff. That's number 62, Louisville, and number 36, Notre Dame, both at home. That's Louisville on the 27th, and then Notre Dame on March 1st. Gentlemen, the second big show of the week, ACC Swim and Dive Championships, hosted by Macaulay Aquatic Center. Men's and women's ACC Championships. Where do we want to start? Where would we like to start?
I think we can start with just the overall results. The men finished 12th out of 15 teams. That's 357 points for those counting along on the scorebook at home. The women finished 13th out of 15 with 274. Maybe let's start there because while Tech also finished 13th last year, they scored almost 100 more points than they did last year. That's a nice trend. That's a really nice trend, actually, and one that I think maybe lines up with some of our impressions from earlier in the year. 274 points versus 184 there. In terms of individual scorers, Tech had five women who scored, and I guess that would be six overall individual scores. Jillian Ferrari finished 21st and 22nd in the 50 and 100 free. Elizabeth Rockefeller, seventh in the 3-meter diving. Nina Slahevich. Oh, man. My apologies, Nina. 19th in the 50 free. Zara Masood, 23rd in the 200 fly. And Phoebe Wright, 24th in the 200 back. Among those ladies, Phoebe Wright is the only one who is a senior, which means that, what is that, 97.4% of their individual scoring gets another lap around the sun, at least one, on the women's team. And I think it's probably a little bit telling that most of this individual scoring was C final type results, with the exception of Elizabeth Rockefeller, who got seventh in the 3-meter dives. All four of those swimming scorers were in that C final type of range. And I really don't think that's something that we've seen too much of in the past. I feel like ACC individual scoring, obviously, maybe not obviously, in swimming, a bunch of your points come from relays, right? They're worth double, and there's only 15 teams that are swimming, and there are 16 scored results. So you have a decent shot of racking up at least some points from relays, right? If you finish eighth in the 200 free relay, like the women did here this past week, and 11th in three other relays, that tells me that they're punching a little bit above their weight in terms of some of that depth. And I don't think that's something that we've necessarily seen in the past. That's like 3 straight minutes of me talking. Somebody has to have another thought on these women's results. Jack, anything?
Yeah, this is just better than what we've had in the last few years. That's
Yeah.
that's the big thing is I remember going to this watch tracking this meet the last few years and it's just been like, there's just very little, it's not much going on here that was like, hey, here's something that we can build on. Here's someone that can like get faster in the next couple of years and like actually maybe not compete with Virginia, but at least get us into B and A finals maybe down the line here. And so, yeah, this is a great start. John Ames is absolutely developing something way stronger in terms of just big meat ability than what we've seen in the last few years. Even with some like I mean, we've had some really good men's teams like that. I don't want to this on that. Like those guys were really fast. Made a lot of Olympians on those teams. But yeah, top to bottom, this is way better, and really happy to see it. Yeah, I say way better. It being 13th, it's the ACC. Like that is a thing you've got to like really, really super invest in that we haven't done with this team yet.
Well,
At the and
and
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you finish 10th and you're Florida State, like that's a fringy top 25 team off the top of my head. I don't know what their current ranking is, but like
It's really
every single
impressive.
one of
Yeah,
those schools in the top 10 is one that has some expectation of a top 30, let's call it ish finish
yeah,
at
yeah,
NCAAs. Like
yeah.
that's
No,
pretty
yeah.
darn
I
good,
mean, we're talking
right?
about we're like the ACC Championships is one of the most competitive meets in the world. Like this is no slouch of a result whatsoever to getting this high up there. So yeah, I'm very happy with it, knowing that we're gonna have a lot of these. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of these gals back. We'll see how the transfer portal pans out and things like that. You never know. We've lost swimmers to the portal and things like that before. Uh,
Look,
but yeah, I mean,
I
hey,
did pull it up, Jack.
mm,
Virginia Tech also received votes. They finished ninth. So I feel very
okay,
confident in
yeah,
saying,
that's
yeah,
where,
Florida State's probably the cutoff of one of those teams that can be like, yeah, top 30-ish type of team. So
yeah, yeah. Very happy with Max Fowler though. He did his thing. That was the big deal. And like, maybe there's a him in the 3 meter. We will see what happens at NCAAs because that is the we might win a thing here. We just
yeah.
maybe might win a thing.
And I will say that, Max Fowler, 82 points, he comes back as well. Georgia Tech men minus Max Fowler still finishes 12th, which I think is an accurate commentary on the depth on the swimming side. Because I'm about to
That's
say
crazy.
something pretty similar for the men. Um, Max Fowler scored in the 3 meter, 1 meter, and platform diving, first, second, and eighth, respectively, 82 points. He was joined in the individual scores by Burke Ertuk, who finished 10th and 14th in the 400 IM and 200 fly. He's a freshman, so that's 34 points to him. Lucas Vetkoter, 10th in the 1,000 and 21st in the 500. Joao Caballero, 15th and 21st in the 100 and 200 breast. Ricky Baldacchini, 20th and 21st in the 100 and 200 free. And Tobin Uhl, 19th in the 200 breast. Gents, that is six scorers, five of whom come back next year. That's 90.1% of those points. I'm feeling pretty similar, maybe not by sheer number of athletes, but in the fact that multiple four or five of those guys are all multi-event scorers. It's telling me again, and again, a lot of those are BC type of finals. There is not a Kyle Pumpudis. There is not a Ferraro Batur Unlu type of top of the line, gonna get you an A final 20 to 30 type of points type of guy. And that's the difference between finishing ninth with 465 last year and finishing 12th with 357 points this year. And again, just for a little bit more perspective, 465 this year would have slotted the men in at ninth again, or sorry, 10th. So tells me that the top of the league's getting a little stronger, maybe the bottom of the league getting just a hair worse. I don't know if there's a thread we can pick at there, but I'm pretty encouraged by just seeing similar depth this year with all the roster changes that we talked about relative to last year.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, the fact, I mean,
Because
good.
I was gonna say, because to me, finishing three spots worse, you might go, ah, but in terms of like number of scores, number of events that come back with a score, it'd be nice to see one of these relays punch a little bit higher than eighth. That probably contributes to some of the difference in the scores as well, too, if I
Mhm.
had to guess. But it it doesn't seem like the changes nuked Georgia Tech's depth. It seems like the changes are more reflective of they have Max Fowler and then a lot of just solid dudes and gals swimming
Yeah,
for him right now.
yeah,
Is
and
that fair?
yeah, and I mean, and hopefully they'll get faster. Like between, I mean, Burke being only a freshman and getting 10th, they have the
Yep.
highest individual finish this big. The same for Lucas finishing 10th in his event and the 1,000 free as a sophomore. That's very nice to
Yeah.
see. So I mean, I'm not expecting trophies next year, but A finals, yes. And so
Hmm.
you've got more A finals on the men's side, and then if Max Fowler keeps winning his events, that's a like, well, we might be holding an individual national champ if things go really right there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, both absolutely have the upward trajectory we want to see, and if they hold it together as a team, hell yeah, man. I mean, girls and guys are putting up some of the better times we've seen in team history, all together at the same time in recent, if for the first time in a while. So that's what's
Well,
nice.
and who have Tech's most consistent like scoring threats on an NCAA like national type of level bed. We've had some great individual swimmers, but Max Fowler, Cami Hidalgo, Ruben Lechuga, like these are folks that John Ames has shown that when he was purview of the diving coach has been able to develop. I'm
Yeah.
eager with another year of consistency under the belt to say, hey, we're bringing in folks who are coming in and contributing. Burke or Turk being a part of
Yep.
that. Tobin Uhl, who's also a freshman, being a part of that. That's eager. That's positive to me. So I'm really interested in seeing just some of the freshman sophomore talent on the women's side as well.
Yep.
Cool. Good stuff. Let's switch to track and field, our final segment of the day. The Tiger Paw Invitational, an indoor track and field meet, was 2 weeks ago. I think we're catching up on this one. Dalen Penson, yes, the one that you might remember that also plays football at Georgia Tech, ran the third fastest 60-meter hurdles in school history in his first collegiate track appearance. And then he got to run it again, went even faster, and is now 1/100th away from the Tech record, which is pretty shocking to say the least. Lottie Chappell and Claire Shelton went 1-2 in the women's mile. Lottie Chappell finished with a 4:42.18, which reset her second best mark in Tech history. And Shelton had the third best mark in Tech history. Billy Carlton had the fifth fastest men's mile in Tech history at 4:03.16. Kendall Ward won the women's high jump at 1 meter 74 centimeters or 1.74 meters. And then Taylor Wade won the 3 km steeplechase. Elsewhere in Georgia Tech track and field, at the USC invite, Omar Arnaud finished third in the high jump at 2 meters double O. So pretty busy week on the track and in the
Mhm.
field for the Yellow
I,
Jackets, huh?
I gotta say, I love the steeplechase. I love that Taylor Wade won the steeplechase. More steeplechase winners. That's my contribution to the discussion. But
I like that too. I like that too. I forgot to put on the sheet. This coming weekend is ACC indoors in Boston, a rare ACC event in Massachusetts.
hey, it's Atlantic and it's coastal.
This is accurate.
It could be
This is
It's
it could be
it's
a
accurate.
perfect.
rare look. It could soon be a rare ACC event in Texas or a rare ACC event in California. So maybe don't count those chickens just yet.
If you're gonna do an explicit indoor event, it makes sense to put it in the cold places to make it feel
Yeah.
worthwhile. You wouldn't put the indoor event in California. Like it can't.
So
You
eight.
can't do that.
What I'm hearing is ACC indoor track and field in Anchorage, Alaska.
Sure. I mean, we're also on that coast, so technically.
All coast
Eh.
conference, baby. That's what we're talking about, gentlemen. Any other news and notes from around the flats?
Minor stuff around campus. The Fanning Center, the new building at the corner of Techwood and Bobby Dodd Way, is getting ever closer to done, and they finally have reopened Techwood going both directions, which is awesome. It has been one way for a long time and has been annoying to come back from Home Park if you're coming from that direction to the east side of campus, which I have to do pretty frequently. Uh, I forgot to mention on our sheet here, but they're starting to do some work inside Britain Dining Hall. That was closed, of course, a couple of
Mm.
years ago, and there were people this week working on getting moving some. I don't know what they're doing specifically, but at least there's some action there finally, and it's been needing a lot of work. It needs a lot of work to get done. If you haven't been there in a long time, which I assume most of us have, I got lucky to go in there recently ish, and all of the same equipment was in there. Like all the dining room tables were still there, all the chairs are still in there. But it needs a lot of love to get back to a spot where it's gonna be a good functioning space. Hopefully, still a dining hall. I don't actually know for sure what's going on with that, but it will be a building that will get used. And I know Tech really, really wants to make sure that that is back in a long-term stable state. So it's on track.
I was going to say one other thing. I don't know that I've mentioned this on the podcast since it's been completed, but I did get to bike the entirety of the cycle track, including the part by the CRC that was under construction up until a couple of months ago. And man, you combine that with what they've done on Techwood, and just a game changer. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Getting
I'm
around campus is
super
so much easier.
impressed.
Yeah, getting around campus
Uh,
is so much easier now than it has been in recent years, which is really, really good. Uh,
the
Just wait
the
until they build the
floating
streetcar.
was gonna say
Just
the
wait.
floating bus stop in front of Moe's is awesome. Raised
Yep.
intersection, like
Mm,
it's like they opened the like good planning practices manual and just like started dumping the contents onto the ground,
they really
in a
did.
good way, in a good way.
They really did. They really did. The first, I think we mentioned in the past, but the first four floors of the new George and Scheller towers are open. The top parts are done, but like the parts that you need for like classrooms and study spaces open. So anyone's welcome to walk in there. You can go in and check it out. There's a new Quality's coffees in there now as well. So like
Hmm.
it is very functional for the students right now, which is awesome to have more space for them. Another thing, the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame had their inductions this year, and Shantae Lowe and Danny Hall were formally inducted. We had already mentioned that they were part of the class, but they are now fully in and inducted, which is cool and nice. I think the last thing is if you are on campus this weekend for any reason whatsoever, as part of my actual day job at the Alumni Association, we are helping run some campus tours of the various Olympic buildings on Saturday in conjunction with the library as they're opening a new exhibit of old Olympic artifacts and stuff like that in celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Atlanta Games. Those tours will run from 11 to 1:30. Anyone can go. You can just hop on the bus and drive. We'll drive you around and then drop you right back off at the library. It's really easy. And then you can go to whatever game you're going to go to that afternoon. So, good little easy thing. We can't bring you into residence halls, even though that's the overwhelming majority of the buildings that got built. But we're going to go into CRC and check that out too. So that is a thing that you could do and make me feel good about my job if you feel like doing that.
Cool. I think that's about it for this week, gents. Jake, would you like to take us out?
Yes, as always, this podcast, it's brought to you by FromTheRumbleSeat.com. We have friends who write stuff. Go check it out, FromTheRumbleSeat.com. You can email us, FromTheRumbleSeat@gmail.com. Ideas, questions, thoughts, things you want us to talk about. Just anything. Just Georgia Tech or Atlanta, we'll field it. In the meantime, you can find us on Blue Sky, FTRS blog, Jake Grant 98, Jack Nicholas, Akshay, and Jack have GameOnPaper.com. That's football stuff, but they do a great job over there. Bookmark it for next year. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at From the Rumble Seat. You can find our lovely sponsor, Section 103, at Section 103 on Instagram and Section103.com. And you can find this podcast wherever fine podcasts are distributed. Remember, tell your friends, helps us out and lets them know where to find great Georgia Tech stuff. Until we speak again, good night, good luck, and go Jackets.